It's time for another episode of Tucson Means Business, featuring Tucson's top entrepreneurs and leaders in the business world. And now your host, Mark Bishop.
And welcome to another Tucson Means Business. And by that, we do mean business. The people we have on create business in our city. They create jobs in our city, and they make the wheels go round. And that's what it's all about. Proudly sponsored by the 49ers Golf and Country Club. Open to the public, and it's been here for a long time, but it's totally rejuvenated. And speaking of that club today, I'm fortunate enough to have somebody fairly important from that club by the name of Casey Bolivchak, and he's the Director of Golf and Sales. And, you know, really he's in charge of the whole golf department. We're going to hear about the club from another aspect you haven't heard before. My other guest today is Jermaine Miller, and Jermaine is co-founder of One Intern. And it's something new into town that's going to be exciting and helping people. So welcome to Jermaine, you firstly.
Oh, thanks so much.
And to Casey, hi, welcome.
Hey.
All right.
Glad to be here.
Jermaine Miller, CEO, co-founder of One Intern. You would think the name sort of tells you what it is. It's new and it's exciting for Tucson. You transplanted here, though, from New Jersey via the U.S. Air Force, and you've been here now for, what, 6 years?
Yep, just over 6 years.
Yeah, so you must have liked the weather or something.
Oh yeah, the people, number one. The weather's cool. I actually prefer changing seasons. So yeah. I like snow. I like the changing leaves. I like clouds sometimes. I love rain. That's rare here, but yeah.
Right. Yeah, who doesn't? Well, you're a former intelligence analyst for Combat Search and Rescue, and you learned that there were 3 essentials necessary for any mission to be successful. 1, a clear vision for the results desired. 2, a detailed plan to achieve those results. And number 3, a well-run organization where everyone understands their roles and responsibilities for achieving those results via the plan. Now, you know, that can be military, but it's very much business, isn't it? So
Absolutely.
Tell me a little bit more about that role, Jermaine, if you wouldn't mind.
Oh, it's great. So when it was about 6 months before I left the Air Force, I knew I was going to be getting out. So, and I've always been an entrepreneur. I started my first business when I was 15, selling juice. So I know that that's what I always wanted to do.
Juice.
Is that what they're calling it these days?
Yeah, we're on the radio, right? So let me know.
Okay, that's all right. This is only going all over the world. Don't worry about it. We're telling them how with it Tucson is.
Right. So I knew I was always going to start business. Jumped out the gate. I met Les Pocock. She's the CEO of Startup Tucson. So that was my first entrance into the startup business community. And I just started networking from there, meeting as many people as possible, going to as many networking events. And I met the full spectrum from successful people who have sold their businesses to new people with ideas. And the one thing I realized is that everybody does things, but no one does anything in a particular order. They just do it.
So your military background, I mean, this stood out to you like beacon lighting in the dark night sort of thing. So you thought, well, if I can put what I know, and they've got what they've got or got where they've got, that I perhaps can do well too. So I'm gathering that your training in the Air Force was super. So you interviewed something like 200 organization heads and managers.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Absolutely. Yeah, some on my podcast, some with just sitting down with coffee saying, hey, you know, I got this plan, this idea, what do you think? And I've met over 1,200 people.
Right.
These are just the ones who are experts, who had successful businesses or who were helping. So then I went to,
That's
Is that all
okay.
local?
all local,
All local.
Tucson.
Awesome.
Yep. Well,
There you
Tucson
go.
and Phoenix.
Okay,
Some
all right.
people.
Okay, so the Revenue Folks Development System, so that's how One Intern is born.
Correct.
Alrighty. We're going to come back and talk about that. You have a passion for training youth, and this is really what's led you into running a non-profit
Yes.
that trains at-risk youth in entrepreneurship to help them lift themselves out of the cycle of poverty that they were born into. Very nice of you.
Yeah, it's nice.
Someone's got to care about them, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, the same business organization system is employed with the youth, and their ability to understand the system equals that of any business owner he's worked with. We're going to go in more depth a little bit about that when we come back to you, okay? Because I'm very interested to find out how the kids accepted all of that, to be honest with you. On my right is Casey Bolivchak. I never forget Casey Polivjak. I first spoke to the gentleman, 7 years ago it was. I was in Australia, and I was moving back here with my wife, who's from Tucson. And we wanted to join a golf club, and, the first thing started with a phone call to the fellow and how nice he was back and this and that, and then we eventually met, and I'm glad that we did. He's director of golf and sales, membership sales, in fact, everything that encounters in golf at the 49ers Golf and Country Club. He was born and raised in Tucson, Arizona, and his wife of 13 and a half years, the lovely Amber, they've settled in the area he grew up in. Amber's a hard-working homeschooling mother, but she's a part-time teacher, too, for the Vale School District. And his daughter's, Case, I think Lucy's 9 now. 9. Holly 1. And son, Bodie, he's 6, yes?
Yes.
And it goes without saying that they're the highlight of Casey's lives. Would I be wrong in that?
No, that's it. You nailed it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You're the director of golf and sales.
Yes.
At the 49er Country Club in the Northeast Tucson, here in Arizona, wherever you may be listening, anywhere around the world, around America. If you haven't had a chance to get to Tucson, you've got to put it on your bucket list. And if you're a golfer, hey, this is one course you've got to really look up. It's very unique. We have all sorts of people. I'll tell you about that later. It's in Northeast Tucson, and he was hired after new ownership purchased the course back in 2012. And he was hired to help in a major rebuilding and rebranding of the project because it had its history. And using his 20 years of the industry experience and local contact network, the 49er is on its way back to being one of Tucson's favorites, and thanks to Casey, it's helping. So, do you believe in the beginning, Casey, that it could come back from where it was as a course then to where it is now? Do you believe that could have happened then? Did you see that?
To be completely honest, no. I knew we had something special to work with, but I don't think we really had a true vision of what we wanted it to be in the end. And the cool thing about that is that it's still evolving to this day. Mm-hmm. The new owner that bought it 7 years ago, I didn't know him, didn't know his background, really what his desire and his commitment to the property was. We didn't know if he was going to flip it or what was going on, but it was a good opportunity for me at the time, either way, the situation I was in. But where we are from 7 years ago is no. The simple answer is no. I didn't think we would be where we are.
Well, it's good you stuck it out. You had the chutzpah to do it. I mean, I'm not going to mention names, but I should tell our listeners that the long story to this thing is there was a particular fellow who owned that club, and he owned a couple of other golf courses in this town, and he really treated the members like absolute crap. And add to that, he just took a lot of money on the pretense of lifetime memberships and then took off. Cutting a long story short, that's all very well, but then if you go and sell all your water wells as well back to the council, you're in a situation where you have a lovely golf course, let it go down and down and out, and then it's got no water. So along comes this fellow. Does he know what he's getting into? And he moved to Tucson, wanted to create jobs, wanted to bring this baby back too, because the 49er Country Club, it is now an upscale, semi-private facility, and it was designed by William Francis Bell. It opened in 61, Casey.
61.
And though, not as demanding as the many desert-style courses in the area, people will tell you that the tree-lined fairways and tightly guarded doglegs pose the same challenges it did almost 50 years ago. And this is when the club, now this is for real, hosted PGA Tours, the Tucson Open, back in 1963-64. And, come on, tell us a story about that. Have you heard any of the crazy stories then, Casey, back in that time?
Golf was different then. These guys were showmen in a different way. They hung out with the crowd. They smoked and drank with them after. But the one big story that sticks around from the pro era at 49er was Jack Nicklaus took an 11 on hole number 11.
This is 11 shots.
11 shots. And, Jack Nicklaus is known to be he plays a fade. So for the non-golfer there, his shot goes left to right. He's a right-handed golfer, goes left to right. Well, most of the holes at 49er go right to left. Story goes that Nicklaus takes an 11 on hole 11 and never played another competitive round of golf in Tucson. And I think is true, that part of it. But whether or not because of the 11.
Above.
He's designed, some courses in Tucson, but if you've played La Paloma Country Club, difficult golf course, I could see maybe he was a little bit mad at Tucson still and took it out on and designed that golf course. But
11,
that's just kind of a fun story.
Interesting. The great Jack Nicklaus.
So you can come out and play.
It gives me
course.
hope.
That's right. You can come out and play our course anytime, and you can say, "Hey, I beat Nicholas."
Nice.
Speaking of the course, Casey, tell us a little bit about it itself, because it is unique.
It's unique. Where it is kind of gives its uniqueness, being down along the Tinker Verde Wash and the Tinker Verde Valley. It's in this giant mesquite bosque, is what they call it, just a patch of mesquite trees.
Okay.
Because the water table is real shallow there is those mature mesquite trees, cottonwoods.
Well, I saw some eucalyptus too.
Willow,
that sort of surprised me. How do they get in here? They're an Australian tree.
Those are they're a dirty tree. No offense. They just drop
they're
their
for the
limbs
koalas,
everywhere. Yeah. They get real big, and
and weeping willows too. There, aren't they?
Weeping willows, yeah. So that's what's cool, and it's obviously close to the mountains. So the Rincon Mountains are right there, the Catalina Mountains, and then Reddington Pass. You get a great view of those. Rincon actually means in the corner, so I always thought that was cool. Cause, we're in the corner of Tucson out there, and it's kind of a neat little spot if you haven't been out there.
Beautiful trees everywhere. I mean, this is, everybody thinks of the desert only. That's all there is in Tucson, We don't try and copy Phoenix in reference to grass everywhere, because a lot of people come from the east and want grass lawns and grass this, grass that. We are the desert. We have, desert landscape and so on, and a lot of the courses in the desert or in Arizona, southern Arizona, don't have trees. So the one thing we do have is a lot of shade, Jermaine, which is very good there.
I noticed.
It's beautiful. And what about, what's 110 odd acres? What else can you tell us? I don't know much about fairways themselves, but what's the difference between Bermuda and the others?
Well, Bermuda grass is grass. There's science involved, obviously, more than my knowledge, but it is older, kind of a Bermuda grass base fairways. We overseed them in the wintertime. So you got great conditions from October through May into June, and the summer can be, a little bit rough here and there, but a lot of Tucson courses kind of battle that.
What do you mean, rough?
Well,
110 or something.
Because of the heat, yeah. It's just,
but it's dry heat, right?
Yeah, it's dry heat. It is. But so is sticking your head in an oven.
I like that.
You can use that one. That's good.
So what you're telling me is you've got to dress the course up twice in a whole year.
No, essentially just once. The grass we plant in the wintertime on the fairways, tee boxes, and the greens, is meant to be planted every year. It will die off in the summertime, or unless you just continue to water it. But
so that's the first one that gets you through the winter.
But
it dies off in the summer.
Yep, and so your base is Bermuda.
Okay.
Bermuda grass
Bermuda's
base.
the base, all right.
So it's an older Bermuda grass base. The greens are like a push-up green is what they call them, which means they've taken surrounding turf or sod and pushed them up. They built them up, so they're higher than the fairways. And those are tiff dwarf, I think, is what they are.
Okay.
They're overseeded as well. So yeah.
I was always wondering that Bermuda. Does it mean it came from Bermuda, Florida, or is that where it?
I don't know where Bermuda grass actually got its name, but that's a good question. Yeah.
So tiff dwarf Bermuda. Okay. So do you know the story behind all the trees there? Is it just they were there in the basin below the mountains, and somebody decided a long time ago to build a course there?
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow.
Pretty much. The story I've told people over the years about 49er and the property was developed by a family that owned a mining company out of Utah. Magma Corporation is what they were called, and they bought the property and developed the course, and that's where the name 49er came from. Was a miner 49er, and then a lot of the streets are named, like Gold Dust, and
that's right. Yes,
Klondike. Yeah, right. So it's kind of a cool story.
So that's how it comes about. See, I never knew that. You learn something, Jermaine, all the time.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Have you played golf, Jermaine? Have you?
I haven't. Actually, interesting story. In high school, I had history teacher, and me and a friend of mine, as we started our business, and we're like, rich people play golf, so we should play golf, learn how to play golf. So he says, I'll teach you. So he brings in golf clubs, and he teaches us how to swing and how to hold it. But then his mom gets sick, so because he's a business owner, he doesn't have to teach. So he just stopped teaching, and he's like, yeah, I gotta go take care of my mom. Sorry, guys. And that was my intro and exit.
That's good.
Of golf.
You look athletic. You should come.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you do.
Come out. We got some good pros. You could,
All right.
get a lesson, and
I like
it's a
that.
good networking.
It's an incredible game. I mean, you've got to be a sadist in some ways, but it's a wonderful game for discipline. No, seriously, because we talk about youth with you. The non-profit is called Circle One Tucson.
Yes.
All right. Signifying the 360 degrees of support each Tucson youth is given. Now, through networking with other entrepreneurs, you met Jermaine, your co-founder, Mariana Eubanks.
Yes.
And 3 years ago this was, and they stayed in contact. Both of you had a passion, apparently, for business and youth. And in February of 2019, she approached you with the idea of connecting students in the early stages of their education to businesses. What a concept. They're interested in working with.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So, because, let's face it, we all had go to school, now go to uni, you got to get a degree, you got to be a doctor, you got to be a lawyer, you got to be whatever you want to be. What about what I want to be? Too bad. We want you to be this. Right? Then you get the part where, hey, I've gone to uni, I got a degree, and you know what? I don't want to do what I got the degree in. What am I going to do?
Pay off your debt and do something else.
Pay off your debt and do something else, but then what? So let's go right back to where before you even get anywhere. And what you're doing is saying, what do you think you want to be?
Correct.
When you grow up.
Absolutely.
And in which case, maybe we can get you early, and then you might find out you don't want to do it anyway.
That is the exact plan. Yes.
So tell us how it goes about. How does it work?
So first I developed the system for businesses, and then went and brought it to City High School. So I taught last semester, and that's how I was able to prove that high school students were able to actually understand the information and go off and actually build a business with it. So taking it out of the high school, so I don't have to deal with the high school. Having it so that the student understands two things. First, you have a lot of support. There's a huge network. I have a personal network of just hundreds of business owners who I can talk to. They'll have that network, and they'll learn how to network themselves. At the same time, it's starting a business, which is extremely difficult and lonely. And a lot of the course is you have 4 hours a week, 6 hours a week with the mentor. The rest of it is up to you.
So the idea being that it would provide them early real work experience in the field that they're studying, so that they could decide early, really, on whether or not that particular career is for them. I mean, you would want these students to provide value, though, to the organizations that they're working with, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, so
How do you instill that into them before they get out there?
That's a great question. What I found is that percentage-wise, we're looking at 10 to 15 of all demographics are actually high performers. So with teenagers, 40-year-olds, and people who own businesses, people drop out, people quit, and people stop. So the goal is to identify those high performers, and those are the high performers that we want to then connect with businesses. So you prove that you're a high performer, and then we connect you to businesses so that you're not there for 3 days and then you quit, leaving the business out on their own.
So what ages are we talking?
So ideally 14 to 26. People say over 21 or 22 isn't youth, but the reality is if 18-year-old, things happen in life and they decide to take a year, 2 years, 3 years off, they might complete college at 26 or maybe 27 or maybe even 30. Excuse me. So just because they're old doesn't mean they have actual experience to be able to go out and thrive in the world. And we see that with 40,000 disengaged youth in Tucson. So they're not working and they're not in school. So where are they and who's targeting them? So that's really who we're looking to go connect with and give them skills, because we know they don't have it. That's why they're not working.
Now we're talking about Square One Intern. Correct?
Well, now we're talking about both of them. We're kind of just
Okay, because I don't want our listeners to get confused here. Explain the two and why there's even two.
All right, great question. So Square One Intern was Mariana's idea. I had a huge network, so we come together to connect business owners with the youth. With Circle One, because I'm an entrepreneur and I have that skill, I wanted to just teach individuals how to go off and just be business owners. So although they have skills that are going to, soft skills mainly, that they can use inside of a business, which businesses are really missing, they can use those soft skills and go into a business and provide value, or they can start their own business. With Circle One, it's a lot more stringent, where we're going to teach you exactly what to do, and you're going to follow this exact methodology inside the business. So one is for profit, and that's how I get money in my pocket, and the other is just training youth so that they can either be an entrepreneur or go off and work with businesses.
Wonderful, really. But at the end of the day, you do have to get money in your pocket. You've got to survive too.
Yep.
You've got to live.
Yeah,
you're an entrepreneur. You're not supposed to earn money. You know that.
Oh. No, I do not know that.
Well, really, I want to ask you, are there any particular organizations that you're targeting specifically?
Yeah, so I just recently became a member of the board of Edge High School. They're an alternative high school. And then working with City High, I've worked with them last semester. I'll be working with them in September. And I'm also building a curriculum with Seed Spot. They're a incubator that just focuses on youth and social entrepreneurship. So that's where we're going to start to continue to prove the model.
Where does Tucson stand overall with our youth? Are we in a bad place?
I believe so, yes, but not in certain areas. So I believe there are multiple, like San Miguel High School, for example, extremely high-performing students. All of their students are high-performing. They have great internships. They get into schools early. Schools like that work extremely well. The Amphitheater School District has the REACH program. That is the Gifted and Talented program for top 3% of the schools. So actually one of our interns come from there. So those are high-performing students, and they get opportunities that the average student doesn't. But then, and when you look at the pipeline to college, that's done extremely well to get from high school to college to a doctor, a lawyer, if that's what they want to do. So I believe those are going really well. What's not going well are the 60 to 80% of the students who are going to go to college and not like what they do, who don't go to college and don't want to go to a trade school, trade school, and then the 25% of youth who are in poverty here in Tucson as well, who have to deal with issues outside of just making money, family issues, drug addiction. Their parents are not in a position to help them, or are just actually negative influences on them. And in Edge High School, 10% of the students are actually homeless. We also work with some youth from Youth on Their Own, and a lot of them are homeless or in foster care, and there's just so many things outside of school that they have to deal with, which makes it so that they can't actually focus on getting those skills and pulling themselves out of poverty.
It sounds like an enormous amount of work you have on your hands.
Oh,
how many staff? What's the team?
That's a great question. So I'll try to make this short. I guess in short, roughly 15 people are working with me on the board of my company and on the board of the nonprofit. I'm working with Brittany Battle, who is actually the daughter or the granddaughter of the Tucson's longest serving mayor. So I got connected with her, and she's super passionate. So working with her, my mentor is a venture capitalist, successful business owner. So working with him, and then for Square One Intern, our primary advisor is Mike Peel, former executive director of Local First Arizona. Now he's their sustainability director. So we have some very skilled and high-level people who love the idea and are backing us.
It helps with an organization like yours to be able to have people like that on the board who've been there, done it.
Yeah.
And understand and put it through. You're listening to Tucson Means Business, and we're going to take a short break. We're proudly sponsored by the 49ers, and I'd like you to hear this message. We'll be right back. Always an interesting show with the 49ers Golf and Country Club sponsoring this Tucson Means Business. That we're very grateful for. And, it'd be nice for you to meet somebody by the name of Mackenzie. I call her Macca. Mackenzie Taylor is her name. Hi there, Macca.
Hi, great to see you.
Mackenzie Taylor is the executive chef of the 49ers. And She is also the food and beverage manager, correct?
That's correct.
You're
Yes.
a busy little girl, aren't you?
Lots and lots to do.
What's your background? How on earth did you get into food?
Well, I fell in love with food when I was actually pregnant with my daughter 13 and a half years ago and was watching Martha Stewart a lot. And I decided I really wanted to learn how to cook just like she did. And so I just got a passion for cooking and baking and entertaining. And so when I came to Tucson 12 years ago, I enrolled at Pima Community College through their culinary school program and spent 2.5 years in that program, met some amazing local chefs, had the opportunity to start working for a catering company in town, worked with them for many years, worked at a couple restaurants downtown, and just really expanded my horizons. When I got the opportunity to be the executive chef at Pantano Christian Church on the east side. That was amazing. We got to feed so many people, and it was such a community-driven atmosphere. It was amazing.
I think it was in the vicinity of some 2,000 or something, wasn't it?
Yes, we have a lot of wonderful members who come weekly and who join us for breakfast and lunch.
That's a lot of cooking, isn't it?
It was a lot of cooking. But it truly prepared me for what we're doing now, too, at the country club. So.
There you go. Now, this wonderful training that you got at Pima, what was that, 2 years, did you say?
Yeah, it was just over 2 years. And it's an amazing culinary program that's local here in town. It's all local chefs who are the instructors.
Right.
So you learn everything from hot foods to garde manger, to baking, to pastry. It's amazing.
The works. You took to it like a duck takes to water.
Exactly. Or orange sauce.
Because it's evident in your food. I mean, people at the Rincon Grill, which is at the 49ers Golf and Country Club, who proudly sponsor Tucson Means Business, they're raving about all your wonderful changes and things that you've done. So I think you learnt with a passion, and I think it's part of you. It's just who you are, yes?
Thank you. Yes. Yeah. The passion definitely radiates. I always say if you don't have passion in the kitchen, get out because it is too hot and crazy in there if you're not doing what you love.
Exactly. And although, you're regarded as back of house because as executive chef, you're teaching and training and also overseeing the other chefs and other people in what we call the kitchen area and so on. But you're also front of house, aren't you, with your other role?
Yes. So I've had such an interest in banquets and people. I love people. I always say they can't keep me back in the kitchen. I've got to come out to the floor, see the dining room, talk to people, touch tables, just check on everything. I really want to make sure that the quality of the service and the food that you're getting when you come into the 49er Country Club is just overall 100%. It's really been amazing to be able to work with the front of house team, which I call the hospitality team. So our hospitality team and our culinary team really have the same direction, the same vision for where we're going. And I think that's really exciting to see.
It is. And you are leading the fray. There's no doubt about that. And when we talk about, there's fine dining and then there's just, finger foods, right? And just bar foods. It's interesting that the Rincon Grill is neither.
Right.
But it's all.
It's everything. Exactly. We want you to have amazing bar food. We want you to have a nice cold beer after a hot game of golf out there and feel comfortable ordering soft pretzels and wings. But we also want to really give you a variety on our dinner menu as well of, beautiful mahi-mahi and salmon and chicken piccata. And of course, it wouldn't be a country club without a perfect club sandwich. So we definitely have those offerings as well.
Mackenzie Taylor, executive chef extraordinaire of the Rincon Grill. When you do go there, ask for her. She'd love to meet you. We'll talk more with her later on. One of my guests today is Casey Polivchak. He is the golf man. We call him the man at the club. He's telling us all about the wonderful 49ers because this is history. It employs people. The club was nearly broke. The place was ripped apart just about. It was a mess. The fairways had grown long grass, and there was talk, got very close. There was talk of real estate developers who were going to put more houses down every fairway. And what a shame that would have been of history. Oh my God, you're east of Tucson with a beautiful ex-championship course that had been let ruin, and this particular owners of it had taken money and they're gone. I think if they ever get back to town, they will be hung. There's no doubt about it. The reality is, Casey went through the beginning, saw it all, and it's a beautiful place now, and thanks to the new owner. Tell us a little about him, Casey.
Excuse me, sorry. He owned a large industrial construction company based out of Colorado. They were doing work all over the world, really. Infrastructure,
you name it.
gas exploration, marine repair, just like things that are, power plants.
Big stuff.
Big stuff.
Big development company, but based out of Colorado Springs.
Based out of Colorado, out of Denver, actually, I think is where.
Denver, right.
And then steamboats.
And this is the infamous Ron McKenzie.
Ron McKenzie. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
What on earth would make him want to take up or buy a golf course?
Well, he didn't really want to, per se, but, he was very successful in what he had done.
Yes, a successful businessman.
Him and I guess some partners, they had sold their business. And he had been a member at the club. They spent part of the year in Steamboat Springs, part of the year here in Tucson. They had a home here.
Right.
He was a member of the golf course. And when the course was going through its tough times, there was a committee or a group of guys, businessmen that tried to buy it or tried to get together to buy it. And not that they didn't have the funds, but when you get a lot of powerful men in the same room, they all have different ideas. And so he just went ahead and bought it on his own.
Yeah, and maybe it was a better deal because they were the wrong people. Maybe. If they were just money oriented, maybe, or
could be. Yeah,
you just never know in things like that. So the gentleman bought it. Now the course has 2 lakes that come into play. It's bordered on the south by the Tagoverde Wash, I think you said.
Yep.
For golfers, it's 6,669 yards. It's an 18-hole par 72. There are 4 tee positions on every hole, ensuring playability, satisfaction, and challenge for every level of golfer. Now, the winding fairways and majestic mountain views surprise golfers at every turn. Jermaine, we get a lot of visitors to Tucson. We call them snowbirds.
Oh, yeah.
From New Jersey.
From New Jersey.
Actually, mostly they go to Florida.
But. And we're grateful that they come and share. And we have a lot of them we meet at the club, as you've gathered, I'm a member by now. And they're lovely people, and they come every year, and they enjoy what they are and so on. And they want everything because they're used to it, We've got a full-service restaurant there, correct, at the 49ers, Casey?
Yeah.
It's called the Rincon Mountain Grill. Nice, interesting name. Was that always the name, or did Ron...
It was the Rincon Grill.
The Rincon Grill.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a mountain grill. It's been through interesting stuff over a period of time while building. I think the current executive chef is a young lady by the name of McKenzie. No relation, right?
No relation.
No relation.
Mackenzie is her first name.
Yes, it's Mackenzie is her first name. Mackenzie Taylor, right?
Mackenzie Taylor.
Mackenzie Taylor. She's a marvel. Jermaine, when was the last time you went out there?
I've never been.
I don't think he's been there.
We're going to fix that up, I'm telling you, because you got to get some of the boys out there and girls out there. They would love the food.
That is a great idea.
Got a good room for board meetings, too. So.
Yeah, great room for board meetings. In fact, I wanted to cover that. The place, see, is not just a golf course. It's more of a family resort, quite frankly, because you've got a situation where you've got people who have kids, so they want to go and swim. Oh, man, some of the events that I see are amazing. Umbrellas are up during the summer. There's children laughing, and there's tents up. I mean, Casey, tell me. I mean, it's like a circus.
There's times when it is like a circus. Sometimes good, usually good, sometimes bad. We get a little bit busy when you try to get too many things going on at once. But like Mark said, we've got a swimming pool. My kids are on the swim team year round. I mean, January in Tucson, Tuesday afternoon, 72 degrees. I got my kids. I'm getting them out of the pool. We got some friends coming to visit from Canada, and I sent him a screenshot of my current weather conditions, and so he booked his tickets that day for a March visit. But we have a fitness center now with wonderful group fitness classes. Lisa DeFalco is the director of the fitness center. She's our ideas generator. She's just a very creative lady as well. The owner's touched every part of the property. He's expanded the kitchen, the restaurant seating, indoors, outdoors. We've got an outdoor pavilion. Like I mentioned, some private dining rooms that we can use. We got a double-decker pizza oven. I love me some pizza.
That's popular everywhere. Isn't
yes,
it? No matter
yes,
what.
you can't go wrong with that. So that was one of the first things we did, but it's just been really a neat thing to be a part of. I know that sounds kind of
you've
cheesy,
been
but
part of the growth. You've been how many years there now?
Just over 7.
7 years.
Yep.
And you know what else I like too there, Jermaine? They've got they've adapted some of the rooms and changed them all around. I remember when I very first joined, the very front room was a gym room. overlooking the mountains. It was beautiful. But that is now one of the dining areas, which is lovely, called the Catalina Room.
Right on.
Well, now you can host events and fundraising events for people in Tucson. People have weddings and bar mitzvahs and you name it. And we've got another room, I think. What's it called again, Case, down underneath there?
The Rincon Room.
The little Rincon Room. They really fixed all that up, made it beautiful. What I've seen there walking past some days is the ladies doing a shower. You know, for the having babies and baby showers and all of that.
Wedding shower.
Yeah, wedding showers. I mean, there's everything you can possibly do out there. So it's very much a family-oriented club. And I think with golf the way that it's going, Casey, all around the world, I think this is ahead of its time in some ways, the 49ers, because you've got to have more Jermaine than golf, is what it's boiling down to. Why is golf getting so difficult, Casey?
To be profitable?
To be a profitable business.
Multiple reasons, obviously, but the main one is time. People's time is being taken away from them for a variety of reasons. You know, the world's a different world we live in today. We're all, you know, sucked to our phones more often than we should be. Here I am, I've got my phone open. Just for notes, though, but, you know, people's time is more precious.
Well, it is. They're like computers. We can't live without them, can we?
The dynamic of the working family has changed. So we're taking what was the country club lifestyle, and it's evolved. It's got to appeal to everybody. So that's where we've got your fitness. We've got things for the kids. Obviously, we always have the golf course, but, you know, the amount of golfers is taking a big dip. In the last 10 years, there's...
So in the old days, it was la-di-da, right? You know, you could play golf whether you were poor or middle, it didn't matter. But what I'm getting at is to be a country club member, to be, you know, that echelon and be paying serious yearly membership and then serious yearly and monthly dues and all this jazz. I mean, I could never afford it.
Right.
But I loved the game.
Sure.
Ever since I first played it, you know. And the beautiful thing about the 49ers is it's like a country club, but it's not.
But it's also open to the public.
Right? Very much open to the public. So it's the best of both worlds.
We pride ourselves in making the members feel like it is private at times, you know, treating them, you know, that in that way. But we don't have enough membership to, you know, make ends meet at the end of the day. So you gotta appeal to the non-member, and that's where we have a lot of corporate and charity golf tournaments. You know, we just have a lot of fun revenue streams. We've got goat yoga.
Yeah, goat.
Certain times of the year.
Have you heard of that one?
You've done that, haven't you?
Not yet.
No.
When it comes to the club,
I didn't believe it when I first heard it. Goat yoga.
We do an annual fireworks, you know, party for the club celebrating, you know, Independence Day for not usually on 4th of July, but yeah, it's like I said, going back to the first conversation we had, it's just been a neat thing to be a part of, and it's evolved as we've gone on, and yeah, it's been great.
Well, every time I turn around, there's another company in there doing their own fun tournament. You know, it's good, Jermaine, to have that comradeship, or however you pronounce it here, but get-togethers, girls too, the wives too. You know, because I think what I read something in a magazine about a month ago. It was in a golf magazine. It was a story based on what's happened to golf. It's not so much that it's too expensive. It's Casey touched on it. The decades have changed, the demographics have changed in the age groups. The older people who are passing on and retiring, the youth isn't coming through per se. Of the middle-aged guy or the young fellow at 20, 21, he's got kids or he's got a baby. And the wife won't let him have 4.5 hours anymore on a Saturday. And if he's lucky, 15 minutes in the 19th hole. So I think that's a lot to do with it too.
Big time. So.
You know,
that's why we've got to give everybody something to do. You know, even, you know, the neighborhood itself has changed. It's gone through a regeneration, and what we've seen is, you know, this is macabre to say, but it's the older neighborhood has died off, and now it's a new regeneration, younger families moving in, and so we've got to appeal to that. And we've also, our golfers, we got to keep them golfing. So the age of the golfer is getting older, so we're making new tee combinations to make the golf course a little shorter. Trying to be creative use of you know, what we already have in place without having to redesign the wheel.
Right.
It'd be interesting to find out amongst all your lot, Jermaine, who wants a career in golf.
Yeah, I mean,
you do see these ads on television, you know.
Absolutely. I mean, exposure is what we're about. That's the goal. And this is something that I've never thought to expose the youth to, a place here in Tucson that we can go and have them experience it. So I'm getting very excited listening to this.
Some young members.
Love to have them out.
That's good. Now, what are some of the goals, Jermaine, that you have for Square One Intern?
Great question. So what we're looking to do this year is train 11 professionals, and we have the goal is 104 nonprofits this year that we have a part of our network. And then ultimately what we want to do is have a network of businesses and a network of nonprofits, so that any student that comes in, whether you want to be in architecture, if you want to be design golf courses, we have people who you can talk to who have been in that area. So the goal is for me to expand my own mind and my awareness of about what's out there, and then have every single year we're growing from 100 to 500 to 1,000 kids who are being exposed to things that they otherwise wouldn't be exposed to.
Does that include truck driving?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. Well, and the way truck really, and that brings me to the technology.
Well, yeah, because
conversation.
what happens now, they're all driving on their own jazz. I mean, I never thought I'd say that when I was a kid. You know, I still don't trust it. I hate driving on the freeway when someone's driving them anyway, but apparently it's very safe.
Yes, and it's going to get safer. So it creates new industry. It takes jobs away and creates new jobs, which are software developers, programs, the people who can design. You still need machinists. You still need people who can design the metal that's going to be the ideal truck. So we're looking to expose the students to technology early, so that it doesn't matter what industry you want to go in. If you're interested in trucking, you can be a programmer.
So in our day, it was engineering. If you had a degree in engineering, basically, I mean, there's electrical engineering, there's all sorts of, various verticals in engineering, but you were diversified enough and trained enough to be able to do that. What about the military these days? Are they doing the same thing? We've got a hell of a shortage in hands-on. There's too many brains running around who don't. In Australia, I'll give you an example. There are more lawyers walking the streets who can't get jobs than anything else. Right? Now, they've just done a 4-year hard study degree, and extra. Doctors we can't get hold of to go in the bush, right? And nurses and places like that in country towns.
Right.
Yet they're paying the best money that they can. So these, what we call the blues, that we normally were pushed into university for, we've found, that you've got to have the trades. You've got to be a sparky and a chippy and still need all these things, a plumber.
Right. What has to happen is the conversation. Colleges have been done very well at marketing themselves. And so the conversation when it comes to success has been 90 to 95% go to school and get a job. That's the conversation. When the reality is over 50% of people never even go to college. So having the conversation be here's college, and also here are trade schools, and also here's the arts, and also here's entrepreneurship, all on the same playing field, then you give youth the opportunity to now move into something that maybe they're a better fit for, rather than what the commercial says they should do.
Because there's an old adage, you're supposed to be happy at what you do. That's a luxury.
100%.
You go to work to earn a dollar, to survive, to pay the bills, to pay the mortgage, to get married, to have children, all this jazz. Pretty sick we were brought up on in the case, when you think about it. Now you're talking about, I'll go do what I'd like to do. Nice and free, Do you think there's too much emphasis placed on entrepreneurship, though?
I don't think there's enough emphasis placed on it, because entrepreneurship, when I teach my students, I say this isn't about you just starting a business. It's about you understanding that it's about you finding a skill that you enjoy and monetizing that skill. So whether it's starting a business, which isn't for everyone, it's not for 90% of people, or it's taking that skill and going to find the right employer that you love the people that you work with, you love the environment you work in, and you love the skill that you're doing.
Well, that's interesting, Casey. It's not for 90% to be an entrepreneur.
Oh, yeah.
And yet 57% only go to college in the country. All right, so there's a cross mix there somewhere. What I'm trying to get is, why do you think only 10% would want to go through what you got to go through? That's what I meant before with the question, really, but I didn't quite enhance it. Do you think when I say it's overdone, it's made to be more glamorous today?
Oh, yes.
It's sold too much.
I agree.
About being an entrepreneur.
Yes, it's not 90% of my day is not fun. 90% of my weeks are not fun. My last 3 years have not been a whole bunch of fun and joy. It's been a lot of things that you do by yourself. 80% of the time I'm just by myself. I have a team, and sometimes it's just annoying to have to update them on what I have to do, let alone do the thing.
God, you're lucky. I'm truly by myself.
I enjoy it. I do enjoy it and appreciate it. But yeah, I do agree with you on that front. No, entrepreneurship is very difficult, which is why my courses are difficult too.
Right. And you know, do you do strengthening with your arms so that when the opportunity time does come along, you're allowed to pat yourself on the back for a job well done, you know?
Oh, I should start doing that. Yeah, whenever that time comes along, I should be prepared for it.
Casey, what about you? You know, I mean, you've been in the game of this particular game a long time. You were in other clubs before the 49ers. What's more of your, when you were young and stuff, I mean, what did you want to be, fireman or a policeman?
Fireman.
There you go.
Growing up, yeah. My son's
so what
taken
happened
after that. Yeah.
Oh, right on.
I don't know. You know, it's kind of funny. I haven't thought about it in a long time, but you know, college wasn't for me. I tried it out, and I was done.
What didn't you like about college, other than the study and the pressure?
I don't know. I was doing other things at the time.
You were a fun type guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got into customer service. I got a job at a golf course right out of high school, and I honestly, in my head, I was like, oh, I could do this the rest of my life. Now, I kind of look back, obviously, as we all do from time to time, and decisions made were some good, some bad, but maybe I wish I would have followed a degree and then still been involved with golf. But I don't know. I look back, and I don't think that I would have gotten anywhere differently. I'm a man of faith, so I feel like I'm where I'm supposed to be.
That's good.
And obviously, you know, based on the decisions made in the past. But, yeah, I wanted to be a head professional at a golf course.
A head professional golfer.
By the time I was 35, and I accomplished that goal.
You did?
Right
But
on.
now,
I hear you
don't
play.
know.
I hear
Yeah.
you play a pretty mean stick. I mean,
I can play. I just don't right now.
were you self-taught?
For the most part, yeah.
Wow. See, he's a natural, Jermaine.
Wow.
Natural.
Meant to
It's all
do
about
the darn
putting.
thing.
It's all about putting.
It's all about putting. Ah. You have a diversified role in your position, though, Casey. I mean, membership, tournament growth, revenue management, marketing, big key. Overall customer service satisfaction. I mean, if I was to ask you which one do you like best, could you put a finger on it?
Yeah, number one, customer service,
Yeah.
satisfaction.
People.
Yeah.
That's it. That's my God-given talent is my people skills. You know, I'm the role I'm in. I get to make everybody happy. I don't have to say no to people for the most part.
But isn't don't you get a lot of complaints or whining or
We do.
Do you get that in your role too?
Absolutely. And you know, I'm a very empathetic person, and so I feel like, you know, just listening to people. Sometimes they just want to bend your ear, and that makes people feel better. Is if they have a complaint, they just want to be heard. Not that I can fix it, not that I can do anything about it, but I care, and I'm sorry that you feel that way about your
This or that.
You're
Yeah.
right, but you know, a lot of times, like I said, people just want to tell you about it, and I certainly will try to do my best to make it better, make sure it doesn't happen again. But you know,
So do you think having a faith makes you a better man?
Oh, 100%.
From all accounts, you do play a mean stick of golf. You enjoy playing golf, but raising the family is really your most important thing right now in your life.
Right now, that's number one. You know, that will lead to more time out on the golf course with my kids, you know, in the future. But for right now,
Are you
know,
hoping they take it up?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
One boy and 2 girls.
Yep, my son's really into it. He loves it, but he's into anything right now.
God love him. How old?
You know,
6.
He's 6. Yeah, so you know, he's got an outfit for every day.
Right.
You know, we'll go
For every day.
He's a fireman one day, a policeman one day,
God love
construction
him.
worker.
He's
one
living
day.
life.
He
And what
really
about
is.
the girls?
Our daughter Lucy's really into swimming, and she's into the worship team at our church. She's really involved in church.
Right.
This is
Do you think
what
she's got a
want.
future in swimming?
Possibly. She's
Yeah?
tall and lanky, unlike me.
She might be in the Olympics
so-
one day. Who
I
knows?
don't know. It's all about work ethic, right? And we're trying to instill that on our children. And you know, she always wants to be at practice. She never wants to miss. So, or never wants to be late. She definitely didn't get that from me either. I got that from mom. But so she's showing those skills needed to maybe excel in something.
Well, Casey and
Whatever she wants
Amber,
to
they, your loving wife Amber, you help with the youth group at the church, and they enjoy home projects, including gardening, raising dogs and chickens, and of course swimming and playing with the kids. I guess it's, you're labeled, Casey, it's called being a good family man.
Thanks. Yeah.
But it's interesting, the both of you, two different careers, but both youth-oriented, right? Now, was your youth good, Jermaine?
Very. So one of the benefits I had growing up was having both sides of my family being super supportive of everything that I did. So although they pushed me to school job, I'm like, no, I want to start a business. I want to do this. So I actually had to appease them and go to college. I went to a community college. That's how we. Then I wound up not really going to class. I went to my business class, my math class, and had like a 1.2 GPA. But yeah, I'm very lucky that both sides of my family. I'm just blessed to have them both. Just my grandmother was pretty much an entrepreneur. She came over here from Jamaica and helped a lot of people thousands of people come over, get their citizenship. She bought multiple houses, got jobs, started businesses, and so
that's the American dream.
Yeah, she did it.
That's truly the American dream, right?
Yeah.
But she got off of what you said and went to work.
Yes,
did it.
Action.
Action speaks all, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
No handouts, That's the thing. Well, if I was listening now and I wanted to understand more about everything you're doing, Jermaine, please give me all your websites, Facebook, and all that jazz. Can you rattle that off for me?
Absolutely. You can go to square1intern.com, Facebook, Square One Intern, Instagram, Square One Intern, Twitter, Square One Intern, and you can hit me up, Jamain, Jermaine at square1intern.com.
Jermaine at square1intern.com. You're doing a terrific job, mate, for the youth of this city. Keep it up. If I can help you in any way, you just yell out. Maybe some communication skills with them. Maybe some presentation skills, learning early.
Oh, yeah.
I was speaking to a very high person in the education field the other day, as a matter of fact, and he said, Mark, you want to know something? I've got guys with brains coming out of their ears and very highly qualified degrees, this and that. But I shiver every time I send them out to have an interview with somebody. They can't talk. They can't present. And they need that confidence and support. So that's a big thing. Whereas Casey, look at him. He's just everything to worry about in the world, do you, mate?
When you're on with Mark, I was telling the guys before I came over to work today, I said, you're going to get people get in front of a microphone, you get nervous. But I said, Mark is the ultimate professional. When you're in with him, he just does such a good job and makes you feel comfortable. And talking about professional interviewer. It's really. I'm trying to pat you on the back, Mark.
Thank you. It's very kind of you. Thank you,
It's
Casey.
neat. I'm not just saying that because I'm.
Well, I'm privileged, and I thank the Lord I can do what I do. I had 40 years in Australia of radio and television, and you get older. We all get older, and just because you retire, and if you still got a passion and a love, you shouldn't be locked away in a box, to where you can't do anything anymore. And I do this to where I help small businesses in town. Small to medium businesses and people. We have lots of non-profits get promoted as well. And I'm trying to expand, here with the Tucson branch of the network. We're growing across America now. In fact, we're the fastest growing business network across America.
Fantastic. And
we've got some exciting things coming. But, of course, people today, it's not like the old days. They don't want radio anymore. They don't want TV anymore. They listen to Sirius at the most. We're podcasting. Podcasting is about listening later. It's about listening when you can listen at your given time. And it's interesting because people, men listen, women listen. 135 million Americans listen to podcasting now doing weird things. They're driving home or driving to work. The woman's cooking dinner. When I say that, I don't mean to be sexist, but what I mean is ladies tend, and girls and women tend to listen to podcasting at different times that men do.
Makes sense.
Because they seem to be, whether you're gardening, whether you're mowing the lawns, you can put earplugs in, walking around the block, exercising, right?
Absolutely.
And people say to me, it's great, but don't people want video? Well, when you get 400,000, YouTube videos a month put up on their channel, you'd be like a bit of a needle in the haystack. And people have to stop what they're doing to watch video. Whereas with audio, it's always there. It's in the background. But, yeah, I appreciate that. And the more we can do, and I feel part of the community, it's where I live. My wife is from Tucson. and Rincon Rat, whatever it was called, and then the U of A. So, and I've noticed that too, Jermaine. You're not from here though, but it's a very much a town where guys and gals grew up together. They went to school together. Everybody knows everybody. 6 degrees of separation. Boys is like 1 degree.
It's 2 degrees.
2 degrees, yeah. They all go away. They do corporate positions, corporate jobs, maybe overseas. But the mountains bring them back because there's magic in them mountains.
The mountains of the monsoons. Yep.
I don't know how many people I've met who have left and come back. They've said
all the time.
They felt the draw.
Yeah. But I've noticed the difference, Casey. You would have too. The weather. I can remember years ago when I was first here, 16 years ago, a little bit longer. Every afternoon, my wife and I would sit on the balcony at 3:30. We knew, crack. Then it starts to rain in the monsoon. It's not like that anymore.
No.
It's just not as predictable as it used to be, So there we go. Well, I'll blame everybody for that. Blame the politicians. Blame everybody. Gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thanks, Mark.
Jermaine T. Miller,
Yes.
Square One, wonderful job you're doing for the kids. Keep it up.
Thank you so
I'll
much.
send you the link and I will send you the photographs from today.
Right on.
I want you to expand those as much as you can and get the word out there. And let's see if we can get some big support for your company, okay?
We'll do, and I'll send you some guests.
Yes, we'll work that out together. I'm a man of my word, no problems. And Casey Paluvchak, I've got no middle T or anything. Do you have a middle name?
Joseph.
Joseph. Oh, St. Joseph. Lovely.
Strong, Joseph.
Joseph. Casey Joseph Paluvchak. He's director of golf overall at the infamous 49ers Golf and Country Club. And if you've never been out there, it's a straight drive. It's 25 minutes, really, straight out along Tankerverde Road. Go past the school, Emily Gray School. On the right-hand side, you're going to see a nice fence. You can see through the fence at the 10th green. And then you keep on going. You'll see the beautiful big double gates. You turn right. And as you go in, you're going to face the Rincon Mountain Grill. And even if you just go and have a bite, and make sure you ask for Mackenzie, the executive chef. She loves to meet people and come out and have a chat. And then if you ask for Casey, he'll walk you around the property and show you what's going on, okay? So, thank you for your company today. I hope you enjoyed this Tucson Means Business, because these guys mean business, and they do a lot for Tucson. I'll see you soon.